Hello, it's Mia, and it's 6:30 my time, July 9th. As my son had to remind me, it's pretty warm in here. I think it's 85 in my room. It's supposed to be 88 today where I live in Pacific Northwest. I had made a few videos, but I didn't feel like posting them. I just wanted to give a summary where I am right now. I have at my school, naturopathic medical school, Pacific Northwest, I had spring term, and then I had like half of a spring break off because I had to, I needed to make up a clinic shift, and something happened, I had to delay one of my exams. So, of course, up until the time I took the test, some people, I don't know, up until the time I took the test, I was studying for it. Some people can be like, okay, I studied, I'm going to take a day off and chill out and have fun and go out to dinner, and then they're like, then I'll take the test and do fine. But I'm like, to the minute I take it, I swear. I mean, if I took an hour lunch break or something before, that would be really rare. I passed the cardiology as far as I know. I'm concerned. I was scared that they made a mistake and put the wrong grade. I studied like a crazy person for that, and I didn't, like, a lot of people canceled clinic shifts and didn't go to their preceptor hours and stuff, but I just worked as hard as I could on the paper. I worked as hard as I could on the studying, and just figured at this point in time, I had this thought in my head, hey, the quizzes were so hard. Some people did really well, like 5 out of 5 all the way through, or at least, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. But I was like, the quizzes are really... It was like you have like 3 choices for regular answers, and then you have your 4th choice is like 2 of the above, and your 5th choice is like all the above. And the test, the final, was kind of more like not really 2 of the above. It was either all the above or none of the above, or the other answers, which was also, I think there was one I wanted to put none of the above, but I shouldn't really say. I can't remember. Anyways. I'm scared because someone just sent an email that there's 30 of them people going to remediate the test, and I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't go to my mailbox tomorrow and find out that there's a mistake and I have to go remediate it as well. I'm just like totally surprised. I needed like an 80, like actually I either needed a 79 or a 69 on the final to pass. I can't remember because they kept changing what you needed to pass. And then the extra credit was about 10, 15 questions. And they said they're going to add 1.5 of those to the final grade. And, I mean, I just did what I could. And I tried to pick out stuff I thought was really important and prioritize. I didn't have time. He said some people have a problem with studying the stuff they already knew and having like an ego trip because they know it. And I was like, well, I don't have that problem. I'm just going to study every page because I didn't... I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. So I'm just hoping that there was no mistakes, that there's no surprises, that I can actually move on. I am taking the basic science boards. I will admit that I took it last year. I had a line like this and a line like this. One said pass, one said fail, and I was like, are you kidding me? There is absolutely no difference. It's not like even one of them was like a little bit over. It was, ruler out, it was the same. So I am really concerned. I studied like 12 hours a day. I was supposed to take Sundays off, but that didn't really happen. There ended up being a couple of Sundays I took some review classes for it. And I felt like the Sundays after those review classes, I'm like, I really got to get a handle on this. I don't have time for a break. And I think we had a church picnic the Sunday before the exam, which is on a Tuesday. I'm in a situation right now where today's like the 9th. So I have about 3.5 weeks until the exam, which is on a Tuesday, and today's Friday. Today's Tuesday. I'm so sorry. I'm like, what? I feel like that's 4 weeks. I'm confused about my days because today's like my day off. Next week I think I'll have a class. I don't even know anymore. Yeah, I think I will have a class all day next Tuesday. It's really confusing. My kid was like, when you're at school, I can't tell. It changes every single day. I'm like, kind of, it does. Some of it stays the same, but then they have all these required classes. I'm trying to take an elective. I thought it was going to be a teaching kitchen, and I got something today that's like, you have to pay for entry to these farms and go on a bunch of field trips for like 8 weeks. My mind's like, I'm dropping this stupid class. I don't want to drive around the whole metro area and out in the forest and out in the woods or the farmlands. My daughter reminded me that's my favorite thing to think about. All like, we're going to co-ops in different places that I go to like all the time. And she's like, that's your favorite? That's your favorite? Like, you like farms and you like food co-ops. Like, and it's just like, I don't want to pay $1,000 to get 2 credits to drive around. And then we have to pay for gas and pay for entry to these places. And she's like, well, you like those stores and places? And I was like, Bob's Red Mill, we're going there too. And she's like, well, you like Bob's. You already always buy their stuff. I'm like, I never buy their stuff. I don't even really eat grains. But then I'm thinking, I could probably buy some flax and some millet and some wheatgrass, berry things. So that's where I am right now. We had a Saturday and Sunday off. After I had finals all week 12, and I had Saturday, Sunday off, which I go to church on Sunday, and then I had clinic on Monday. So we're going to have a holiday, Labor Day, so I don't think we can miss any Mondays. Because of the way our summer term is, I wish they wouldn't do this, but because our summer is only 11 weeks, we need 12 weeks for each clinic shift. They're going to require us to make up 1, 2, 3. They probably do it on purpose so that patients can come during all holidays. Wouldn't it be nice if they just like, they've always moved our schedule. Wouldn't it be nice if they just like shove our schedule one way and let us have the 12 weeks so we don't have to do holiday shift, but they want to keep the clinic open. And I guess the clinic staff or whatever, they can't really tell everyone to take a week. You would actually have to close the school for like 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks out of the year. Close the clinics. So it's all about business. I can't tell you what it's all about, but it makes it hard when you're supposed to have breaks to spend time like Thanksgiving with your family, which is also right before finals, and so there's always papers due, lab assignments due, finals in that 2-week period after Thanksgiving. Besides the fact, I never really traveled out of town. A lot of people travel to relatives all across the country. They go on cruises, they go to Mexico, whatever. And I never do that, but I'm a single parent. I sit here and watch, like I did today, Arthur on PBS with my kid. And so yeah, I guess it's 4 weeks minus a day that I have the boards. I didn't bring the paper in, or I have a notebook about this thick, and I think I have another one equally as thick. And I do have somebody else's notes. This is just one. I think this is set number 22 out of 21 and 22 out of 22 packets. This is the ones I printed for some reason, only one-sided, because when I download it on my computer, I have a hard time with new computers or new operating systems. Download it as a picture, and then it wouldn't open, and I had to just do something weird. So I didn't necessarily I told myself, just print the stupid thing, and who cares, just read it, even if you read it once. And sometimes I'm just pull it up on the computer and make a study guide on there, but I told myself, just print it, punch holes in it, with the trusty hole puncher that I got when I did my second undergrad degree. I didn't get a degree, I was 12 credits short. But I needed those classes for prereqs for medical school, the medical school that I'm going to right now. My friend wants to go to the movies on Saturday. I don't want to go. I'm supposed to have a class Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. That's really messing with my schedule. And I have multiple classes and stuff that overlap on Mondays, so I have to make sure I go to the ones that are actually required, and the ones that aren't required is the board review one. I'm gonna have to skip it. I'm trying to decide if I want to leave my recorder with somebody. This guy who's giving the class said we can pay $25 for some kind of CD-ROM or something. I'm considering. I've got 3 copies of this guy's class over the years that they had for free in the library, and and I had my own copy that I made last year when I took the class. So I think I'm overdoing it. But it's my career. So I'm what's another $25? If I don't pass, I won't be a physician. So I'm at that stage, and all the hidden charges. It's I'm sure they charged me a lot of weird extra charges for random stuff. That wasn't $25. That was a lot more, you know, 25, 200, 1,000 extra dollars. I mean, I've paid a couple grand extra for stuff that was like messed up. And anyways, I was thinking that today. There's a lot of agencies and stuff that totally rip you off, or they make a mistake and then they penalize you. And you're like, dude, I did what I was supposed to do as a customer, or I paid the way I was supposed to do. You guys messed up the books, or you guys messed up the paperwork, or you guys messed up my kid's daycare schedule, and they weren't even there, and you're going to charge me extra, and then try to charge me a late fee and a penalty, and all. Like, are you kidding? And it's like, you go to these people and they threaten you, and they're like, if you don't do what we say, we're going to send you to collections and all. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, are these people doing this to so many people that they're getting rich off of it? Or are they sitting there looking at me saying, oh, she's trying to scam me, I'm not going to listen to her? That's where I'm concerned, is why can't they just do honest business? You know, they used to have that customer's always right. At the Albertsons here, I remember buying my kids some chicken, and they have an advertisement that says, if the price rings up wrong, you get the item for free, and you don't get your whole groceries for free, just that single item. I had bought them some chicken, you know, that every day, like Wednesday or whatever, they have like, or Tuesday they had like a special, like $4.99, and I went, they rung up like, say, $6.99. I was like, ooh, I was like, we get that free, and she goes, no, you don't. She goes, that's stupid, I'll just type in the right price. And I go, well, your sign right here says that if you ring it up wrong, any item, I get it for free. And I'm like watching everything like a hawk. These are the days with my kids. And I'm not saying I have more money because I use student loan money. These are the days where it's like, okay, you owe, say, $40 for groceries. I'd have like 27. So I was always like covered in sweat, putting stuff back. Like, well, the kids really need this. Or usually it was something I wanted. Oh, I don't really need this. I don't really need that. I hated being that person that had to deduct stuff, and that happened often. And sometimes you have to be careful, like, they have sale prices, and then once you ring it up, I was like, I swore that this was only be $26. I had that happen before when I'm in a hurry, and I'll go back and read the receipt, and it'll say, like, it'll be apples or something, and I'll say, wait a second, they overcharged me. Their sale price was 99 cents a pound. I wouldn't have paid $3.99 a pound for an apple. And it's like, I've already eaten the apple. The next time I go to the store, instead of spending $5 on gas just to drive there right away, you wait till next time, take the receipt. Oh, too bad. You don't have the apples? We can't weigh them, so we can't give you a receipt or a refund. Are you kidding me? It's like, and you think every time this happens, how many hundreds of people went through your line today or in the week and got the same ripoff, you know? It really makes me upset. And they're always like, no, they always look at me like I am wrong. If it was my store, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I see what you're saying. Here's a refund. You know, I've done it at one store. She rang up everything wrong, and she refused to give me a refund. She gave me a store credit. So I had to go. I was like, I'm never going back to store. And it was a co-op that I actually joined as a prize for me getting accepted to medical school. I'm like, I'm never going back to that store. Like, I was stupid, like, I don't know, she overcharged me like a few dollars. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so, you know, I end up going back a few months later before I actually lose. Oh, that was my money. She messed up. It wasn't even like I returned something. You would think a store policy, if something's wrong, they should give you a refund on the spot. In some places, they'll just give you cash, even if you use a card, which isn't always good because you don't want to, if you use a credit card, you don't want to have interest or whatever. But, but yeah, it's like, I noticed that when I was a kid, I'd always get my quizzes back in school, and they'd always be like, you got 3 wrong, or 10 wrong, or whatever, like, 3 of these are correct. I was always the type, because they'd go over it in class, or I'd re-look through it, and I would get a lot of stuff wrong. Almost every time in some teachers, and it's like, are they like, now I think back on it, it's like, are they testing me, or are they that careless that they just, like, randomly mark stuff wrong? And occasionally people would mark stuff right that wasn't wrong, and I would turn that into you, and they'd be like, that's 1 point, you just go ahead and have it, that was my mistake. So, yeah, I have this one here. I'm jumping to it. It's like, you can see my books all falling over. My friend gave me board exam books last year before I got my results. from her conventional medical school. She also was naturopathic. Now she's in the Army. She goes, and she got married in between all that. It was like some guy she moved for like 3 weeks. Like, literally went to the courthouse and got the marriage license, and then had someone from the day she signed up for the Army, because she had to lose weight to get signed up. She got married that same exact day during a lunch break from med school. And she like comes back to class after like an hour. Oh, I just got married, by the way. I'm like, and then she's going to basic training. I don't know if I can handle all that drama. I don't know drama, just being a parent. Here's some micro. Can you guys help me be accountable? I think I'm going to push stop and just read this stuff. I'll tell you everything I learned from it. This stuff is all review. Subcutaneous fungal diseases. I just took micro last year. Did really well on the pathology and the microbiology. Actually, I think I did well on the immunology. Did well on the biochemistry, surprisingly. But I studied that like crazy because I thought that was my weakest area. Considering like some of my exam scores that were not top. Parasitic and Amelia flatworms. Trematodes. Sorry. Flukes. It's got like jokes. And it's funny, these notes, I don't necessarily always get along well with some of the people that I get. These notes have been passed down from years through the years. Rabies, polio. This is just like the tip of the ice. This is like 1% of the test material. Rotavirus. Oh, I don't like that rotavirus stuff. I swear, that's like yucky. This one got cut off. I don't know who scanned this stuff. Spirochetes. I'm kind of excited with spirochetes. I'll put that one last. I'll be excited to go through. I don't see Lyme or syphilis on here, but I just wanted to share one way or another whether I passed the test or whether I made a mistake or whether I find some weird email. I checked my junk email from my school email. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff in there. Someone's account got hacked and somehow my name got on it. But I was like, oh my gosh, I hope that, because sometimes stuff from the school gets in the spam box, and I was like, please tell me I passed everything. So that's where I am right now. I have a lot of classes, class times. We had just bought, I think Monday, that was yesterday, a book for class on Thursday that was like 300 pages long, and I have like 10 pages of, or like maybe it's like 8 pages of assignments that I did for the class. That's only a quarter credit. I was like, wow. And I actually had to get help. And I went to the bookstore 3 times to get the book, and they were closed each time I went. And this class is separated. Like, there's only going to be a few people in the class this week, then next week it's going to be separated into small groups. So some people it might not be a month till they take the class, so they'll have plenty of time. And I felt like, gosh, a lot of times my bookstore runs out of books too. It was basically a bunch of lab forms and stuff, and it's kind of important. We did a lot of it in one of our lab classes, especially the teacher we had this year. She incorporated a lot of lab results and how to read them, and I felt like kind of like we did it a lot in her class, and I don't believe we're going to be tested on the material. So, another accountability. The big book that's about this thick, I have a lot of handwritten stuff. A lot of it is just me copying his slides on things that I was confused about. I also think the thought just came to me, maybe some of the stuff that I really understand, I should make sure I fully understand it. I'm the type of person, if there's something that's really hard, I figure it out. I'll spend an hour figuring it out, set a timer, and then be done with it. I'm realizing with this test, if 90 or 80 or 70% of the people get it wrong, they throw the question out. Or if it's clinically irrelevant, they'll throw the question out. So if it's some random zebra thing or whatever that means, something from House where they have 100 differentials and they finally figure out it's some rare genetic disorder, I'm the one that's like, oh, I know that rare genetic disorder. Or I saw it on House. And then me and my kids all researched it on the internet. Even today I was like, oh, what did 13 have again? Like, what was her, I forgot her name, and I was like, whatever. I don't even remember the disease right now. Not Wilson's disease. I was saying Wilson because that's the other guy on House. Korea. Something Korea. See, I can't even remember. See, now I have to go and watch House and read this. Huntington, Korea. So I was like, I'm highly considering watching a few episodes of House before, or seasons of House before I take this exam too. I learned a lot of specialized things just in cardiovascular and GI, gastroenterology this year. And it's one of those things where you learn a lot of medications, homeopathics, herbal, botanicals, and lifestyle change, and that stuff's not really going to be supposedly on this test. What I was going to say before is some of the easy stuff that everyone should know, I need to make sure I know it. And not skip it because it's easy and say, let me learn the hard stuff now and come back to that later, because there's usually not a later. Or my mind will say, we'll just do that on the practice quizzes and we'll just memorize the practice quizzes. Some of those books back there, I believe, I don't have a lot of resources for quizzes, but what I want you guys to help me be accountable with, and I will post an update. These books here, I think they have a few pages, not very much, of practice questions. I have a couple other over there. I have a couple other books. I'm at the point where I'm like, I want to read this thick packet of notes. And I want to read I think somehow or another I end up with another thick packet from the same teacher. I don't know. I haven't even looked at it this year. And then I had another packet somebody photocopied and gave it to me, and it was like one of those secret missing packets, like the missing scrolls of Dr. such and such. And that was good. That was a really good packet, more like, I think it had a lot of pathology in it. And I'm at the point right now where it's like just reading page after page, trying to write stuff on flashcards. The flashcards are this. I don't even know. Oh yeah, this. I keep losing them. These were my first ones after one of my relatives from long lost relative on Facebook had told me I should do it on flashcards and then act like I'm teaching. So ATP 36 to 38 produced. Vitamins you need, citric acid cycle, B1, B2, B3, B5. And I actually been watching Dr. Najib. Those are the first ones I did, and then I had to cut some. I lost like a five of these, and then I lost them, and I made some more by cutting them with some really annoying cutting board or cutting paper cutter. Oh my gosh. They don't make things like they used to. Everything is completely out of order. And I lost those. I think they're in my little bag. And then I just bought like 400 flashcards, multicolor ones. So I'm still on blue, doing physiology, more like insulin, and because I started in Dr. Najib's insulin, and I'm just like GLUT2, like glucose transporter. Did I even know that for the past 4 years? You see that, and you recognize it, and you see it all over. But now my mind is like, seriously, are you kidding me? Glucose transporter? And he drew out the whole picture of what happens when the body eats food, and it does this, and then the potassium channels close, and the calcium channels open. There's an influx of calcium, and the potassium channels close, so there's a high amount of potassium, and then it depolarizes. It's polarized -70, then it goes to like -50, so it's less negative, and that will cause the insulin thing to spurt out into the body, so you have insulin and C-peptides. Like, seriously, I mean, he went over it a couple times, but I'm like, in the past few years, I study this stuff. I go to class, I listen, I make recordings of the class, take notes, I'll draw stuff on big piece of paper and dry erase boards. Like, seriously, I don't remember being able to actually have the aha moment. So there's probably a few hundred minutes, I don't know about hours, of Dr. Najib stuff. All I'm going to do is pray about which ones to watch. And it's kind of not, I almost want to print up, I don't know how to do screenshots very well, I almost want to print up a page and just check off each one I'm doing. I'm trying to decide. It's really time consuming to just take notes. This is my notes from my other packet. It's hard to take notes from something, and I mean, sometimes the process of writing it, if you never even look at it again, can help you. But I'm really surprised, and like I said, he does review it, and he does say, this is the something, what, again? And I shout at the screen, because I know the answer. So it's just another way. A lot of people that retook the test last year, or took it for the first time 2 years ago, whatever, they did watch Dr. Najib's lectures, and they said everything that he talked about, they memorized it, and boom, they knew they had the right answer on the test. My biggest struggle was my borderline grade. The biggest struggle that I had is not being able to keep my focus when I'm in a room full of people, and a lot of, workers were talking. Students had to talk every time they gave their ID or turned their test in to use the bathroom, and doors opening and closing, proctors staring me down looking like I'm going to cheat. Why can't they just treat everyone equally and walk through the aisles, and just all the movement and feeling like you're in a test. You can't really just, I don't like to have my head like this for 2 hours. I can't breathe. Sometimes I would slouch, or sometimes I would do something else. I want to wear a hat. I wanted gloves last time. It was freezing cold. They won't allow you to do any of that. I had on long johns and socks and stuff, wool socks and boots. It was the middle of summer and completely air conditioned. And my hands went numb, so I turned the test in. And I kind of wish that I had maybe took one more break and ran my hands under some hot water. But I feel like this is a really big thing, and it's something you have to do to become a naturopathic physician. Any physician will need to take their boards, whatever, chiropractor, I don't know about chiropractors, but osteopaths and allopathic physicians, medical doctors, 2 sets of boards. So you're supposed to take them after second year, right after you study this stuff. And I think of myself as not being that smart, but at the same time, I passed all the classes. So I'm and I'm still there. There's a lot of people not there. So I need to, get that through my thick skull. Excuse all those papers back there. I should probably go through them right now. I think I'll make an audio recording of some of my studying and go through that stack of papers. I have no idea what it is, but it's kind of irritating. It's not my priority list. Let me tell you that right now. But I don't know how to do it. I want to give you guys suggestions for studying, because the reason I wanted to make this, and hopefully y'all will listen to the video, I had just been encouraged by some people actually on YouTube, completely different educational path and different level of education than I'm at right now. I just want to encourage you, just keep studying. I don't know if I actually said this clearly, but for the cardiology, hopefully I actually passed it. For the cardiology, I said I'm swamped. I have clinic shifts. I have other classes. I have kids, and I have appointments. I had stinking multiple inspections, paper due, computer broken. I was typing my paper on an iPad. I went to my friends to do my paper, a different paper on an iPad. She was on a computer, and she was twice as far along as me. Besides the fact I get easily distracted and like to change the subject. But yeah, I had that feeling during the cardio studying that I don't even have enough time. I'm not going to get home from school until this time at night, until 6, 7 at night, and my kids are going to be hungry. I just told myself, just get the notes that you have and just plow through them and just skim it. I actually took a study skills class by, what's his name, Anderson? No, not Anderson. Weller, David Weller. And I think he does it in Europe and the U.S. I'm not positive. I can't give you any dates. He does it at our school once a term. But he taught us a lot of different things, from dancing in the morning to having an organized study area to how to speed read by starting and using your finger and then getting to where you're skimming the whole page. He had you're supposed to have an accountability partner where you're supposed to use a metronome and a timer, and you're supposed to do this every day, and you're supposed to draw a graph over the few weeks of time. You're supposed to have an accelerated amount of speed reading. And before and after that class, I've had instances where I said, I've got an hour before I have to leave for this exam, and I need to literally you know, get through 300 pages. And I'm like, I don't know how the human brain works, but I'm just going to skim it. And if I skim it, that's more than not skimming it. And that's more material than just really trying to absorb something. And for me, a lot of times I have seen it before. I may have studied for it before on a quiz. You know, I may have listened to it on audio while I did the dishes. I may have had a conversation with my kids who wear headphones all the time and they don't even hear me. Or my guinea pig who just wants food when he hears me talk. So I have to keep that in mind. So yeah, it was between, do I skim these 300 or 1,000 pages? Sometimes it was 300 in a 24-hour period, and that's really hard. For me, 300 pages and there's a lot of times are PowerPoints. Sometimes they are pages of notes, not like these ones I was showing you, but like you can turn a PowerPoint into a Word document, so it's not like complete sentences and paragraphs. And some of the tests you have to know certain charts, graphs, like a vaccine schedule I learned from a different class that I had gone over the chart so many times that my mind somehow was able to answer the questions. And then my one choice was, I'm so overwhelmed, what's the point? The test is tomorrow, I might as well just quit, get a good night's sleep, and just hope for the best and get there on time. And the other part of my mind is like, do whatever you can to get through as much information as you can. And there's a couple things in my, like, you must look at the EKGs, you must look at certain other things, and you took a couple notes of a study guide that you think is going to be the ultimate study guide, and it's only 3 pages that you did 8.5 weeks ago. It's like, maybe look at that. Because for some reason I thought that was important then. Some people are really good at pulling out important information. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do like I said. Right now I'm going to read each of these until I get to the Spirit Key page. And I hope that I can read it again. I hope that I could draw it out, read it to myself, and record it and listen to it while I drive to my class in the farmlands or wherever I end up going. My desk in that area is messy. I think it would help. I've had instances where we had home inspections once a year, and I had times before that where I had to remediate and I was overwhelmed. I had times where I had to clean the entire house, inside out, the whole yard, the porches, every closet, every nook and cranny of the house had to be completely spotless. We're supposed to wash the windows, but I don't have like a 2-story ladder. So to tell you the truth, I didn't do the windows, at least not on the outside. Probably did the inside ones. The times where the house was super clean, I had no problems passing, and my time was limited, and my sleep was limited. I was cleaning, and then I would be like cramped up and say, okay, now I'm going to bring the notes out, and I'm going to lay down and do this. And it's like, well, I have to do the dishes, or I have to put away one more basket of laundry, because I have to get this done before a certain date so that me and my kids don't get evicted. And those times were like amazing. Because a lot of times during the school year, I'll tell you the truth, I prioritize studying. You have a quiz, you have a paper. I don't really care about washing the windows at this point. Although my mind will go wash windows. And then I'll say, put the rag down and go type your paper because it's due tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning. Hello. It's like, and you actually have to get to school on time because it's due at 7:30, not at 9:30, not at 8:30, not at 7:45. So I'm not sure if anyone is going to watch this whole video or have their own studies. Like, are you going to school for something? Are you thinking about going to school for something? Are you in high school? You know, and I have people in my school that are 50, 60 something years old going to med school. Some of them it's their first time, or they stopped a program, like acupuncture started another one. Some of them are chiropractors. And there's struggles. There's people that have been doctors for over a decade that have issues with the classes or clinic because somebody subjectively berated them in a way they didn't like something about them. They didn't like their accent or the way they dressed. Seriously. So there's some struggles despite being able to just study and do your best. There's some other drama things that can kind of make your career be set back. So I've been seeing this, I've been dealing with this, and I've been trying to just get beyond it treat the people like I want to be treated, despite how they're treating me, and just go ahead and just, I don't know, like I said, push stop and go through these notes. By the way, you might wonder why some of my stuff is in yellow, or why I like colored post-it notes. I had a lady who trains higher education people. She was reviewing some studies where certain people have certain colors that are good for them, and she used colored gels, like you use when you're doing theater, the little gels you put over the stage lights. And actually, my grades started increasing, which I should probably call this lady and get a letter for the test. I did last year. This year, I was like, I don't care if they don't let me. I'll wear, like, yellow sunglasses. But my yellow sunglasses are, like, super crazy Catwoman ones where the thing's way up here, and I don't know. I don't know if they'll be like, what are you doing with those suspicious-looking glasses? So, there's just some things I've got to jump through hoops and just do the best I can, and that's all I'm going to do. I hope that I pass this test. I need to move on. We're already, next year is my last year. This is my last year right now, and I need to get beyond this test because it's already time to study for that one. The clinical boards and the GPAs, all the stuff you have to pass to be a physician. Some of it you have to pass to even be allowed to finish school. So it's kind of serious. Everything about this is serious, which is really hard. That's why I want to encourage people in higher education and everything. Some things are really hard in your career could depend on it. And God willing, you hope that you chose the right path. But it's like you could fail one thing or two things and be kicked out of school and owe lots of money. Like hundreds of thousands. Literally hundreds of thousands. And hopefully someone else only owes like a little bit, or if not, get scholarships. So I have a lot of people that criticize higher education, say it's too much work, you shouldn't be doing this as a single parent. I've tried every other profession in the world. I even tried to get a job scrubbing toilets. They wouldn't hire me. They would when I had less education. But now, it's like, I have to do my dream because I did really bad at the other stuff. So I felt like it's God's will for me to be able to be a naturopathic physician. And my other dream, I'll tell you this right now, as I'm babbling on, I have a teacher that goes to Peru half the year, and she takes people with her, and she had some issues, and with our grading, or she spaced something out. I was actually contacting her. She was in another country on her way to South America. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. And one of my my friends who's a med student, she's actually in Mexico right now. I'm like, are you kidding me? Everyone's like, oh, you deserve it. I was like, no, she does not deserve it. I deserve it. Like, I'm with my kids 24/7, and it's like I have to contact them. They won't talk to me. They're now communicating, one of them through chalkboard and the other through email. I'm like, I'm surprised. She doesn't even like communicating through email, but it was something pertinent to her education in high school. So she had to contact me. So, it's up to me. I mean, in my circumstances, I can't really leave the house with my son not coming out of his room, and I have no money to go to a beach or to Mexico, or, I mean, I have free bowling tickets in my wallet, but I feel like I don't even have the time to do that, so I know my kids won't go with me. So, that's where I am right now. I'm excited, encouraged today, the sun's shining and stuff, and I guess it's just another reminder, and hopefully that those grades stand strong. It's another reminder to just, I chose this path, whether God chose it, for me. I chose it. I did the application work, and I took the classes, and I've talked to financial aid, and to registrar, and to deans, multiple deans of this, deans of that. I've gone into office hours, or not gone for particular reasons, and emailed the right people, and I have to realize that's a lot of hard work. It's turning into a blur. It's turning into, like, fear sometimes, and anger, but I reminded myself a couple months ago that when the school is done, and we don't see those classmates every day, there's going to be something weird. It's going to be a lot of strange, like, wow, it's gone, the locker's gone, the mailbox is gone, some of the people there moving out of state and stuff, they're still at the school. They graduated like a year ago. They're still chilling in the hallways every day, and which is fine because they're actually quite encouraging and giving advice and just having communication with other adults, which is kind of nice. So, yeah. Yellow papers. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put checks on every one so I know that I read them.